Football season is right around the corner. I'm Nice, and that is Harb, joined here on this week's episode of the JWTDG podcast. Harb, what are we? 28, 27 days? I can't count. I went to Carter.
James Pierce Jr.
There we go. James Pierce Jr., not Al Wilson.
Torn pull.
Arion. It's 28
Torn
days.
pull? Torn pull were 28?
Yes, he did.
What a pull. Man, I'm sharp as a tack.
Yeah, we're 27, if my math is correct, as of this recording.
27.
So Arion Foster.
Al Wilson, Arion Foster, James Pierce Jr. Who else wore 27?
Trying to think of one, but I'm gonna have to go to Google because I can't remember.
I'm just trying to think of any athlete besides them that wore 27, and I'm blanking.
You won't find many in basketball because the number 7 wasn't allowed until recently. Yeah. It says Hank Larcella wore number 27. So there you go.
Well, let's look at this year's roster because I have this sitting right next to me randomly.
Nice. Well, while Harb's looking that up, we got a loaded show this week. We haven't recorded in a couple weeks. So we got a lot to get in. Football camp, preseason camp open this week. Some notable news about a linebacker. Some injuries have occurred. And then a big-time recruit committed last week, so we'll get to that. Tennessee basketball added a player to their roster, their final spot. If you're watching, you'll see my jersey, but if you're listening, I'm wearing a Cubs jersey. Cubs swag. Cubs and Red Sox have saved baseball this past week. We'll talk about that. Also, a wild story from a mid-major football program, a season ticket holder special they're running. We'll tell you about that toward the end of the show. And, of course, our hater and loser of the week. Harb, did you find out who's wearing 27 this year?
No, because we're both dumb enough to not realize that 27's retired, which I'm assuming it is. But 28 is Mr. TJ Metcalf. So yesterday, we are TJ Metcalf days away from football season.
There you go. It's crazy that we are now under 4 weeks until the season starts. It always I used to follow the countdown like crazy, especially in my younger days. And it seemed like it just took forever for it to get here. And I was sitting here on the couch watching going back and forth between golf and the race this afternoon. And on CBS, a commercial popped up, and it was, Channel 8 News, and it was Josh Heupel, this the official station of the Vols. And I was like, man, we're less than a month from football, and it's like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme when he wakes up on the airplane in Inception, and he's looking around. It's it just hits you all of a sudden. So kind of wild that we are already here, and there is a number 27 on this year's roster. Harb, you're going to kick yourself for not knowing this one, because I'm kicking myself. Jaden Perlotti is number 27. How did I forget that?
Oh,
the Lawrenceville, Georgia product from Buford High School, who scrimmaged Baylor High School over the weekend. Who attends Baylor? Not Marshall Manning, but DGG, our newest running back commitment for next year's class. Number 1 running back in the nation. I bet since he committed to Tennessee, all the agencies have probably demoted him to a 4-star running back and nowhere near the top 10. But all joking aside, it was a huge pickup for the Vols. I don't care if we're paying him $6 million. If Tennessee wants, I say this all the time, and you can win. Indiana's the outlier here, but most of the time, statistics show that if you want to compete for national title, you got to recruit at a high level. And Tennessee's done that for the most part, but not, I don't think, high enough. They're just right on the precipice, right on the cusp of getting those guys, but not to the level of an Ohio State or Oregon or Michigan or Alabama, whoever, Georgia. But Heupel's done a heck of a job for this next class. I think this year's class was pretty good as well. That's coming in. Tennessee's going to be young this year once again on the field. I know everybody's tired of hearing that, but it's the truth. And it's probably, hopefully ends after this year. Can get a little stability in the roster. But it's hard to say with the transfer portal these days. But I don't know. What do you think about DGG committing to the Vols over Ohio State? Ohio State fans were a little butthurt about it.
Well, it was massive. Been a while since we got somebody that prolific at that position out of high school. We have had a string of running back history over the years. Don't get me wrong. We got Bishop now, which he was overlooked. Had Dylan Sampson, Jalen Wright. List goes on. But the way DGG is looked at, he could be that dude. And he's ranked number 1 or number 2 in his position nationally. I think isn't he top 10 overall in his class?
Yes.
Like he's a 5-star plus blue chip. It's massive. It's kind of like baby Derrick Henry. I'm not saying he is Derrick Henry, but I mean it's comparable. It's cool, and we paid for it. Let's just get that out of the way. Like we did. I think he is the highest paid since the NIL era started. He's the highest paid running back out of high school. It is. Is it $2 million a year? Is that what the deal is?
I think so.
I believe it's $2 million a year. We're paying for his parents to come down from Canada. There's a few other things that I'm forgetting because it's been a couple of weeks and I'm not looking at it. But yeah, it's a massive get, in my opinion. Especially which Faison's going to be the starter, which that probably knocks another talking point out of something we're going to talk about tonight. Faison's going to be the starter. He was always going to be the starter, in my opinion. He should be. He's a tank. Based on what receivers have been saying from fall camp, he's as good as advertised, especially with Tristan Keys. Guy he came in with, he's very impressed with what he's seeing. And according to multiple posts online, he's put on roughly 17, 18 pounds since he got here, which gets him up to what, like 245? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's like 6'3", 6'4", 245. You can run like a gazelle. Imagine next year, depending on what Bishop does this year, which there's so many variables at hand. You got Faison, you got DGG, you got Deshaun Bishop potentially. He could be gone. Man, you line up in the shotgun with split backs with those dudes. Or you run an option just with Faison and them. I mean, like the opportunities are endless. Like it's fun. It's a big get. It's exciting, and I don't want to jump too much because hell, he's the highest rated commitment we've had at the running back position since Bryce Brown.
Wow, blast from the past there.
Yeah, and we all know how that went. So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too hard, but yeah, it was cool, and it's good for the program, and that three stripe life.
I was looking up here while you were giving us your thoughts. The only players ranked ahead of DGG, Gabriel George, is it Georges? You got to figure that
I
one
was
out.
in Georgia's.
In the Rivals industry ranking are a defensive lineman Jamin Brewster, who's committed to Texas Tech, cornerback John Meredith, committed to Texas, interior offensive lineman Maxwell Hiller, committed to Florida, edge David Jacobs, who's committed to Ohio State, and there's rumors that he is open to not going to Ohio State, possibly Tennessee, and offensive tackle Mark Matthews committed to Texas A&M, wide receiver Easton Royal committed to Texas, and running back Kamon Spell committed to Georgia, and wide receiver Marshawn Sells, who's committed to Indiana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's the number 9 overall player in the country, according to Rivals. Huge get for Tennessee. Again, like I said earlier, that's what they got to do if they want to compete in this league. Which I think Heupel, last year's class I believe was number 4 that are freshmen this year. Number 4 in the SEC, number 9 nationally. So that's a step in the right direction. And I think he's just got to keep doing that. Top five classes in the SEC. It's what he's got to get. I'm not so much concerned about nationally as I am SEC, because there's been years past where we've been 12th, 13th in the nation, and like 8th in the SEC. And 8th in the SEC, if you equate that to where they finish, is not going to cut it. Now that's not always been the case. You can't equate being ranked in recruiting number 8 and finishing 8th. It's not, look at 2022. It didn't happen. And I don't know what we were ranked then, but it wasn't 4th in the conference. I can promise you that. But anyways, a huge pickup for Tennessee. Like I mentioned a minute ago, there's rumors about David Jacobs, the defensive edge that's committed to Ohio State, that he's not closed his recruitment. He was, I think, took a visit to Knoxville back during the recruiting period earlier this summer. I think him and DGG are close. So that's kind of floating out there. So we'll see. With the money the way it is now, it's hard to tell. You can't count anybody out anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, which I still don't know how I feel about, but it is what it is, and that's the new landscape.
Oh, I hate it. I hate that there's so much money involved in this.
No, it sucks for sure. On the same topic while we're here, let's talk about Arion Carter.
Okay.
Which I think our Commander-in-Chief Josh Heupel put it eloquently. I'm gonna verbatimly quote what he said, but in fewer words. When talked about his suspension, he said, "It's bullshit." And it is. And if you're listening to this pod, you know what we're talking about. Arion Carter decided to leave early in the winter and put his name in the NFL draft. Long story short, didn't get the best feedback he wanted, so he decided to come back to school. In the meantime, he accepted a flight from an agent, which they all have agents now, which is the funny part to me. From an agent to Chicago for a workout. I believe it's Chicago. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But
possibly, yes.
I think it's Chicago. I believe the there and back flight was $427.69, we'll say.
Nice.
Yeah. He went to this workout. decided to come back to school, paid the agent back the exact dollar amount down to the 69 cents. Nice. And the NCAA has decided to suspend him the first 2 games of the season for accepting that flight. And, I'm trying to figure out a eloquent way to word this, and I just don't know if there is one. The NCAA is useless at this point, and they know that. And it's one of those things where, I'll say an empire is clutching on to their last bit of hope and power, and they pick and choose when to use it. And you take a student athlete like Arion Carter, who is going to graduate with honors. He's a captain. Never been in any bit of trouble to my knowledge. Like that, who did everything the right way, realized he was going back to school, which there may have been a timeline deadline that he may have missed on paper. He pays the exact money back. Then all of a sudden, in late July, they're like, "Oh, no, you're suspended 2 games for taking that flight." But if he was a quarterback that decided to transfer to Texas Tech, that just decided they were going to take all their oil money to build a roster, and if he were to bet on games on teams that he played for throughout his entire college career, maybe a judge would have gave him an injunction to play. Or maybe he could be an offensive lineman for Texas, be an undrafted free agent, participate in mini camp with professional teams like, say, the Cleveland Browns and the Dallas Cowboys, and then after mini camp realize that he's not going to make the 53-man roster, and then get granted a 5th year of eligibility to return back to the University of Texas, then it'd be totally fine. But instead, he completes the draft process like normal, doesn't hear what he wants to hear, decides to come back to UT, not another school, by the way. All the credit in the world to him in today's age for coming back to the school he was at. And he still gets suspended the first 2 games. And both of those hypotheticals are 2 things that actually happened. And both of those guys, well, Brendan Sorsby, he's not going to be able to play. But the offensive lineman for Texas, I don't know his name. You can look it up if you want. He went through the draft process, was an undrafted free agent, went to minicamp for the Browns and the Cowboys, wasn't going to make the roster, and he got granted a 5th year of eligibility, so he's going to be starting week 1 for the Texas Longhorns. Show me some consistency. That's all I'm asking for. I don't care if I like it or if I hate it. Just show me some damn consistency. And that's why they're failing. That's why nobody gives a shit about the NCAA anymore. That's why nobody cares about it. They pick and choose when they're going to enforce their rules. And it's ridiculous, really. The fact that Arion Carter is going to be suspended in the first 2 games is utterly ridiculous. And that's not even a homer take on things. It's just lunacy, especially considering the landscape of college football. They decided to force a rule, if you want to call it that, a ruling, we'll call it, that in my opinion is completely outdated. And that's what Josh Heupel said in his press conference as well. It's just idiocy, in my opinion, especially considering a lot of the things that they deem eligible or legal within the current bystanders. You're gonna punish a kid for taking a damn $400 plane ticket and paying it back. Make it make sense to me, because it doesn't.
I can't. I'd love to make it make sense to you, but I can't.
Can we talk about the offensive lineman from Texas?
I
Please tell me you
saw
saw
that.
that.
I saw that today, and I'm so. That's what I was talking about earlier. I was texting some people earlier. It was probably in our pod text group a while back. I made it sound like I didn't care. I do care. This stuff is so exhausting to me anymore, with the money and the eligibility and the people transferring all over the place and just all the bull crap that goes along with it. And this guy from, what would you say, it was Texas? I didn't catch the school. But offensive
Yeah, Texas
lineman
is the one I saw. Yeah,
goes, and he is at an NFL minicamp, and now he's
two
coming
of
back
them.
to play two of them, and now he's coming back to play college football. It's the same thing that's going on in basketball. You're going to have guys littered all across college basketball this year that have played professional basketball. It's not amateur athletics anymore. I know we want to call it that because they're, quote, student athletes. Let's just be honest, they're not. They're probably not going to class anymore. And if they are, they're taking the minimal online BS just to get them through. Some of them might legitimately be going to class, trying to get a degree. I would say the majority of them are not anymore, especially in a sport like basketball where you only have to play 1 year and you can go pro. Football a little different, so you might as well go to class while you're there, in my opinion. But this whole system is so stupid, and I don't know what the answer is. Is it getting rid of the NCAA? I don't know. Is it the SEC and the Big Ten breaking away and forming their own super leagues and then meeting and playing for the national title? I don't know that I like that, because what is so fun about college basketball is you have that 64 or whatever, how many teams are up to, 76 now or something like that, which is stupid. But you've got this big tournament where the whole nation comes together. All the conference champions come together at the end of the year, whether you like how they crown a conference champion or not, whether it should be regular season or conference tournament, doesn't matter. But all these conferences come together, the little ones that play in these Carter High School gym, or or Tennessee or Kentucky playing in a 21 or 25,000 seat arena in these mega conferences. And all these teams come together and play, and not as much the last 2 or 3 years, but there's always some intense matchups between David and Goliath. And that's what makes that tournament so awesome. It's one and done. You got to be on your game every week. I went over to Greenville and watched Duke struggle against a 15 seed or a 16 seed, whatever they were, whoever they were playing that first round. And it took them nearly 30 minutes to take the lead in that game. Would that happen if they were playing at Cameron Indoor in November? Probably not. But that's what makes March so special. And I just felt like, I go back and watch old Tennessee games on YouTube all the time, and they'll break in with highlights from a game around the country, and it's like, so-and-so needs to win this game to get to this bowl game, or so-and-so needs to win this game to get to their conference title game to keep their bowl alliance hopes alive. And I wish we could get back to something like that, where you have I'm getting way off topic here, but where you have a system in place, a computer system that gets the best teams analytically into a tournament for college football, and you put them in a tournament. And I think that would make it so much better. But to sum all this up, because I got way off topic there, it's just not the same anymore. And I don't know what the answer is as far as the player eligibility and players bouncing all over the place. I mean, the easy answer is sign them to contracts, and that would cut out all this BS. But they're never, until they get a CBA in place, they're never going to do that. And I don't know who's going to make them do that. It's going to take these ADs or university presidents getting together and say enough is enough, and they want Congress to do it, but then they're afraid of getting antitrust lawsuits filed against them. So it's a mess, not just football, but the college baseball, college basketball, everything landscape is just a total mess right now. But Still love the Vols. I'll be there on Saturdays, and pissed off when we lose 3 or 4 games. Hopefully we don't, but I say I don't care, but I really do, Harb. I text that in that group that day, and I was like, I don't care. Just JWTDG. That's all I care about. If you know what I mean. But, yeah, injury news. I wanted to bring this up real quick. We've already got 2 out for the year. Shocking. You thought this might end with a new strength and conditioning coordinator, but it's football. It's a contact sport. Jaden Harmon, who transferred from, or is that Jadaeus Richard? Transferred from Miami. I can't remember which one was which. Cornerback, that's him. Jadaeus Richard transferred from Miami. He's got an upper body injury out for the season, and Jaden Harmon, a linebacker, which luckily we got a lot of linebackers, towards ACL over I think it was Friday or Saturday, out for the season. And of course, Arion Carter will supposedly miss the first 2 games. You think Tennessee files a lawsuit or of any kind before the season starts to get an injunction?
Short answer, no. And here's another thing that won't happen, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What's stopping Tennessee from just playing Arion Carter the first 2 days?
That's what I'm saying.
What's stopping him?
What's the NCAA going to do? I mean, all we got to do is take him to court.
Yeah, and if it's anything like any of the other cases across the country outside of Joey Aguilar, just take it to the local court and file an injunction. And
you got to find the right judge. They got to find the right judge, which they did not do in the Aguilar case, apparently.
No,
but everybody else seems to.
We found the one judge in America that didn't want to look like a homer when it came to a college football case.
Yeah.
Because, and we've talked about this before, so I'm not going to waste too much oxygen on it. Joey Aguilar, according to the Diego Pavia case, should have 1,000% got another year of eligibility.
Yes, he should have.
And that's not me saying I wanted him as our starting quarterback this year or I didn't want him as our starting quarterback. But based on what Pavia got with the JUCO not counting his eligibility, or Diego Pavia, I mean, Joey Aguilar 1,000% should have been eligible this year. Now, I didn't agree with the Pavia one at all because JUCO is college football, period.
Yep.
And that feels like common sense. And there's other things in sports that we'll get to later in the show that feel like common sense that just aren't anymore. But if you give it to one, you got to give it to all. And hopefully, which I doubt it, hopefully the NCAA looked at the Pavia case and was like, hey, we messed that one up, or we're not going to do that anymore. Or it's going to be one of those cases where the stick on 2 of them, considering Joey Aguilar and that guy that transferred in from North Carolina for baseball. His name's escaping me. The one that got deemed ineligible.
Yes.
Anyway.
Same thing.
Same exact thing. And hopefully they won't do that in the future, because I think that's bullshit. Just personal opinion. But yeah, there's just no consistency across the board. All I'm asking for is consistency. I don't care if it benefits or if it screws us. Just for the sanctity of college athletics, just give us some damn consistency. That's all I'm asking for. And I think 99% of America is asking for the same thing.
Probably 100. Well, I shouldn't say 100%.
I mean, obviously, if it benefits us, then go for it. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's just like I don't know. Again, I mean, it's take a lot of people that are smarter than you and I to get in a room and figure this out. But getting everybody to agree on anything these days is hard to do. But I wish Tennessee would just put their foot down and say, or hopefully they're coming up with something behind the scenes. But maybe he sits out. They get an injunction. He sits out that Furman game, comes back and plays Georgia Tech after the injunction, and then once the Georgia Tech game's over, you know what? We'll drop this. I'll just sit out the Kennesaw State game. Maybe, I don't know.
but I mean, seriously, like, I mean, these are two different topics between Arion Carter and like Brennan Sorsby or whoever. What is stopping these schools from just playing these kids and just calling the NCAA's bluff and be like, oh, if you got power and do something about it?
It just
I mean, what is stopping it? Because there's been such an overhaul in rules and legalities and enforcement of said rules. I mean, what is stopping these schools from playing guys that the NCAA says are eligible or not? I know that's two opposite ends of the spectrum on topics. But let's just say Texas Tech was like, piss on y'all. We're playing Brendan Sorsby. What are y'all gonna do? Let's say they go undefeated. They can claim a national championship if they want to. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the NCAA is not a thing. They could look like the Pioneers. Unfortunately. I mean, I don't agree with it. But seriously, what is stopping them?
I think
they
it would
want
just
to be the first team to do it and look slimy.
That's what I was about to say. I think it's somebody actually doing it. I think is what's stopping people. Nobody's done it. That first team that does it and tests the waters and it works out, then the floodgates will open. Or it may not work and then nothing happens. But it just takes
one team. That's the first step to the SEC and the Big Ten breaking off and it just becoming AFC and NFC. That's the first step.
It's exactly, and then you'll have SEC, Big Ten is like your major D1 football programs, and then everybody else is you got the group of four now. Is that would be like everybody else would be your group of four basically, and it is what it is. It's I don't know that we've
said that we've said this for years. I think we've said this for 3 years now. We could go back and look at it. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to end up branching off. And whatever teams are worth notable are going to join one of the two. And so they're going to be like the NFL. It's going to be the AFC and the NFC. The winner of the Big Ten is going to play the winner of the SEC, and that's going to be the national championship every year. That's exactly what's going to happen. And the first domino of that is when a player gets deemed ineligible and one of the teams from that conference is like, what are you going to do about it? That's the first domino. And that's going to happen sooner than later. It may not be this year. It could be next year. It could be 5 years from now. But that is the first domino of how this is going to start going. And when does the NCAA's contract end? Was it 2032? Or something like that?
Sure. Maybe,
something like that. It's going to be sooner rather than later. And it's going to be messy. And I honestly don't think I'm going to enjoy what it looks like. I don't think anybody's going to enjoy what it looks like. But it's going to happen. So just get ready for it.
Buckle up, because it's just we're going down a path of no return. The college football that I grew up with and you grew up with is gone. College sports.
Yeah, it's dead. Period.
It's gone. Let's switch gears real quick here, Harbin, because we talked about that for a while. Tennessee basketball added a player. I know it's off season for basketball, but Jalen Washington, who was at Vandy, has with the new ruling that these guys are getting a fifth year now. he has decided to transfer to Tennessee. Spent his first 3 seasons at North Carolina, then went to Vanderbilt, and he's joining Tennessee. Rick Barnes said we're ecstatic to have Jalen join the program. He's a first-class young man who embodies the character, humility, and work ethic that define our program. Last season, he averaged 8.9 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, which was big, in 20 minutes a game. Shot 56% from the floor. Now, the reason I bring those stats up is Felix Okpara. I'm a huge Felix Okpara fan. That dude was a rim protector, could fly around the rim, especially on those pick and roll alley oops, and he turned into a really nice player for Tennessee. Last season, he averaged 8 points a game, 6.3 rebounds a game. I don't know, his blocked shots aren't on here. He blocked a lot of shots. Let's just say that. So Jalen Washington, by numbers, have better numbers than Okpara, and so there's a little comparison there. Can he be this team's Felix Okpara? I mean, only time will tell, and he's coming in late here in the process. But that finishes out Tennessee's roster, I believe, for the year. I think it's their 13th player. Latest rankings, early preseason polls, most have Tennessee in the top 10. There's a couple that have Tennessee in the top 15, but I believe the latest one I saw has Tennessee at number 6. And they also announced some exhibition games, Harv. This is one thing I actually like that's in college sports now in basketball is they're playing exhibition games. Tennessee played Indiana at Thompson-Boling 2 years ago. 3 years ago, they played at Michigan State. That was a game we learned who Dalton Connect really was. And last year we hosted Duke at TBA. And this year we're going to Cameron Indoor. Wish it was a regular season game, but Tennessee at Cameron Indoor in October. And we're hosting in the middle of October, we're hosting Xavier at Thompson-Boling Arena. So Xavier is a solid, makes a tournament pretty much every year. I don't know here recently. I think they've had some coaching changes and not been as successful, but there for a long time. They were in the tournament year in, year out, major player in the NCAA tournament. So 2 quality teams they're playing in the preseason. And then you look at Tennessee's schedule, hosting Michigan State this year, playing in Vegas, some really big teams there, hosting Florida State, which I don't know what they're like. They've been down recently, but hosting Florida State here at TBA in the ACC Challenge later in the season, and of course the SEC schedule, which will be tough. But it feels like Harb, and I know we'll talk about basketball, as the fall progresses, but I hate to put this kind of pressure on these guys, but it's almost like it's Final Four or bust with this team right now, with the way the roster's constructed and how Tennessee's and Rick Barnes has pushed all the chips in on the table.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like Barnes and Danny White have went all in on this team. But double-edged sword, we've never been to a Final Four, ever.
Nope.
And if we go to a 4th straight Elite Eight, is that really a bust?
No,
it's not. I'll answer that question for you. Will it be frustrating? Yeah.
Be disappointing.
Right. But we're not a school that expects Final Fours or national championships in basketball. Would it be cool to get one? Would it be cool for Rick Barnes in one of the last years of his career to get back to the Final Four or a national championship game or even win one? Absolutely. But expecting one when you've never been to one, man, I mean, I'm trying to be a realist here. Let's calm down a little bit. Now, this team does have a ton of talent. I think Barnes has focused on offense heavily in this recruiting cycle. He has looked at the weaknesses of his past teams here and focused on that. But also, it's a bunch of guys that have never played together. So, and I love saying this every year, don't overreact to November basketball. When we get to Feast Week and they look like a bunch of guys that have never played together, calm down because they haven't, you know. And I do have high expectations for this team. But March Madness is one of the last sanctive things that we have in college athletics. It's hard to win. It is. And that's why I think Rick Barnes deserves more credit than he gets for getting to 3 straight Elite Eights. We're the only team in the country to be in the last 3 Elite Eights. Period. And especially in this era, I think it's harder. So give the man his flowers, give the man some slack. If we slip up in a game, yeah, it's going to be disappointing, but I don't think it's Final Four bust. I do think his team has high expectations, but I feel like if we get to one, you're over the moon and you thank the man and you keep it moving. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. And I wasn't saying that.
No, I mean, no, I'm not saying
that.
you. I mean, a lot of people are saying that. That's why I spoke as long as I did. Like if this team has a bad game and slips up in the Sweet 16, yeah, we're going to be disappointed, but look at the body of work.
And it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those things where they're going to be a heavy preseason favorite to win the conference. I mean, I'm not saying they will be the favorite to win the conference, but they're going to be top 2 or 3, 4 in the SEC to win the conference, and they're going to be top 5 to 10 in the nation odds wise to go to where's the Final Four at? San Antonio, I think. No, Detroit. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of high expectations on Rocky Top at TBA FCC this winter. I'm excited about that Michigan State game early in the season. Hoping to find some tickets and go to that one, and hopefully catch some games there this season. But looking forward to that. But we got to get through football first, and that's coming up very quickly, like we mentioned. So we'll talk more about basketball as we get into the fall. But our main thing is going to be football from here on out. But all right, Harv, let's wrap this up. I got a couple stories for you. Okay. Then we'll get to our infamous hater and loser of the week. Did you see this story out of Akron where they're going to let a season ticket holder call some plays on offense?
I did.
So
that is college athletics in a nutshell right now.
Back to what we were talking about a minute ago, right? So I was reading earlier today. I just pulled it up here. It says Akron football coach puts guardrails on viral play calling promo to prevent sabotage. Who could have imagined that sabotage might happen? So basically, if you're a season ticket holder of the Akron Zips, you're entered into a contest to be drawn out to call some plays or call a play on the opening drive of the Zips' first home game this year. And I believe it's against Robert Morris. Terms of the deal are simple. Season ticket holder, you're entered into the raffle. The winner of the drawing will call plays on the opening drive against Robert Morris. Okay, so Akron season ticket sales are on a historic rise. Everybody wants to be a play caller these days, right? According to the school's athletic website, season tickets start at just $75. What a deal. Robert Morris fans, however, are buying up all the tickets. David Ubben, a known hater and loser of the Athletic, says that Robert Morris University fans are looking to sabotage the opening drive. They hope to win the drawing and script the plays that fell miserably. But head coach Joe Moorhead of Akron has guardrails in place. Everything must be approved by the Akron head coach. He will modify the game plan as he sees fits. He is not going to, quote, let the circus roll into town or make a mockery of the game.
Well, then why would you even run that promotion?
Doesn't sound like it was his idea.
Well, obviously.
I can't believe Danny White's not tried this yet. Can you imagine Tennessee fans getting a call play?
You know, it'd be hilarious
against
is
Furman.
if it'd be hilarious if against Furman a fan got to uh call the first play of this or first drive of the season, and they ran it up the middle 3 times and threw a screen.
That sounds like something I would do.
Yeah,
All right,
just do exactly what is gonna happen. Yeah.
I don't have something to put in front of my mouth here like I'm calling play, but yeah, let's run this off tackle. Let's run a counter tray here.
Yep, run it up the left guard's ass.
And then I got to run a screenplay. Screenplay is one of my favorite plays in
Have
football,
to.
whether it's wide receiver or running back or tight end.
My God, that'd
Got
be
to run a
hilarious.
screenplay. But yeah, I saw that the other day, and I was like, "What are we doing?" I mean, I get it; they're trying to sell tickets, but who could have imagined that Robert Morris fans they're gonna buy all the tickets and try to sabotage it. Other thing I wanted to bring up, Harb, and you tweeted it. The Cubs and the Red Sox saved the game of baseball last week. Red Sox swept the Dodgers in LA. The Dodgers then travel to Wrigley Field, and the Cubs sweep them out of town. Both the Cubs and the Red Sox are pretty hot right now. I know the Red Sox lost the series this weekend, but overall, the last 31 games, what are they? 25-6 or 24-7, something like that.
No. Don't sell us short, brother. We had won 9 series in a row before this weekend. And after the first game of our series, and I'm only quoting exact stats because this is truly non-biasedly one of the craziest baseball runs I've ever seen in my life. Over their last 37 games as of Friday, over the last 37 games, the Red Sox are 32-5.
That's insane.
They were 14 games under 500, and they got to 13 games over 500. They went from second worst record in the American League to the third best record in the American League.
And they're in the playoffs now.
It is one of the best turnarounds in sports history, in my opinion. I love my Red Sox dearly. In the middle of June, I quit paying attention. I'll just be 1,000% honest with you. I was like, it's one of the worst Red Sox teams I've ever seen. We fired our entire coaching staff. We need to sell the team. Which all of those things were true at the time. We fired so many coaches that we had to bring the AAA manager to manage the major league team. We fired Jason Varitek. Jason Varitek is a Red Sox legend. We fired his ass. That's where we were. And the pitching staff was always good this year. We just couldn't hit. And then all of a sudden we started hitting. And this team turned into absolute magic. It is one of the coolest things I've seen in sports in recent times. This is the most excited I've been about a Red Sox team in a very long time. And we're doing it without some of our best players. That's the coolest thing about it. Garrett Crochet's been out for months. Roman Anthony's been out for months. Tristan Casas, God bless his soul. That man can't stay healthy to save his life. He has arguably some of the most raw talent in the majors, and he can't stay healthy. He's going to end up going somewhere else and finally getting healthy and being a dog, and I'm pulling for him. But he's one of the only people I've ever heard of to be on the IR and get hurt again with a different injury. Hell, he hurt his wrist last week during rehab. And Trevor Story's been out. Yeah, and we're doing it. It's 2013 vibes for me. And if you're a Red Sox fan, not listening to this, that was the team that won the World Series after the Boston Marathon bombing. The year before, they were last place in the AL East. They were the worst at first team. They fired Bobby Valentine, hired John Farrell. They're a bunch of guys that just didn't give a shit. Like outside of the notable suspects of Ortiz and Pedroia and all of them, like you had dogs like Johnny Gomes, David Ross, Jared Saltalamacchia, the list goes on. Shane Victorino was on that team. I'm getting those vibes because these dudes do not care. And the more it goes on, Contreras is one of the best free agent signings we've had of all time.
Former Cub.
No, we got the one from St. Louis.
That's him. Wilson Contreras.
Oh, okay.
Because he left Chicago and went to his little brother plays for Milwaukee, or he was in Atlanta and now he plays for Milwaukee.
That's right. Gotcha. But yes. Yeah. He has such a Boston attitude to him. Like he fits perfectly. And there's so many guys on the team. Like and what shocked me was we went on this big run, and I was anxious about the trade deadline. I was like, all right, what are we gonna do? I was like, I know what we should do, but I know what ownership's probably gonna do. And what we do, we go out there and we get Adley Rutschman. We go and get Eric Miller, I believe is his name, reliever from San Francisco. And I was like, I'll be damned. We're going all in on this team. And I love it because we have the pitching staff to do it. If this batting order stays on top of it and we can get it done and we can hit in October, this team is good enough to do it. And especially with Crochet's in line to come back in September, anything can happen. Like it's the craziest thing. It's been fun.
I mean,
been a lot of fun, and the Red Sox Cubs alliance is very strong on this pod. My boss is a Cubs fan. We have already shook hands on a Red Sox Cubs alliance. Pretty much, it's anybody but the Dodgers or Yankees at this point that I'd be happy with. I know you wouldn't be happy with the Brewers.
Absolutely not.
Anybody but the Dodgers or Yankees for me. And I can eliminate the Brewers if that would make you happy.
Please do.
That's fine. But
can't have Milwaukee there.
All right. If it's NLCS and it's Dodgers Brewers, who are you pulling for? I'm forcing your hand. You got to answer live.
Probably LA because I dislike Milwaukee that much. I just do not like Milwaukee.
Also, will the 2027 MLB season start on the scheduled opening day?
Man, that's a tough question. I don't know enough about it right now.
I say no.
It sounds like it won't. Just from listening to experts talk about it, it sounds like it won't. I don't know when the CBA expires and all that stuff. I hope it doesn't start. I hope they don't get through the season and it starts and it ends like the 94 season. Who was the best team in baseball in 94? And that season got wiped out because of the strike. The Montreal Expos. They were awful all the time. They were one of the best teams in baseball that year, at least in the National League. And the season ended, and they went back to the bottom. Yeah, I don't know. The Cubs have had. Remember back in the spring we were recording and the Cubs lost. I don't know if we were recording back then or not, but the Cubs had lost 10 in a row. Things were looking bad, and I was basically saying if they don't win this next game, they should just call off the dogs. Season's over. And then I had to slap myself like, come on, niece, it's May. Like, calm down. It's a long season. I've had to tell some Braves friends of mine that are Braves fans, like, hey guys, yeah, they're like, Braves have lost 6 of their last 10. I'm like, okay, you're still in first place by 5 games. This was a few weeks ago. I said, just calm down. It's a long season, a lot of ups and downs. And here they won, coming into the weekend, they'd won 7 in a row, and they lost 2 out of 3 at New York Yankees. But, Cubs I'm looking at the standings here. Cubs are 6 games up in the wild card over Arizona and Philadelphia. And the Red Sox are up 5.5 on Texas. So, New York leading the wild card and Boston. And then you've got the Cubs, Diamondbacks, and Phillies. And in the American League, you got Yankees, Red Sox, and Rangers. With the Tigers hot on the they're just a game back on the Rangers' heels, and they traded their best player to LA. And here they are. They've won 2 in a row, and they're 1 game back in the wild card. The wild card anymore fascinates me because you got teams like Miami has stunk here recently. They're 3 out. Cardinals have just been mediocre. They're 3.5 out. Washington 4.5 out. Pittsburgh 5.5 out. Cincinnati is 6 out. And it's like nobody's out of it. All it takes is 1 good week and you're right back in it. But Cubs and Red Sox look like they're safely in at this point. There's a month and a half almost left. Big news, Harb. I'll be at Wrigley this Friday. Cardinals coming to Wrigley Friday afternoon, 1:20 Central Time, not 2:20 Eastern. Cubs hosting the Cardinals. I'm so excited to be back at Wrigley Field. Besides Neyland Stadium, my favorite sporting venue to go to. Just like you get there, and like the last time I was up there, I walked to a game, and you're just walking through a neighborhood. You don't hear anything, you don't see anything, and you walk around the corner, and boom, there's a stadium right in the middle of this neighborhood, and it's just the atmosphere. It's so awesome to be there, especially for a day game on a Friday. And St. Louis is going to be there. This is probably the biggest game I've seen at Wrigley. I mean, I've been to a handful of games there. They played Milwaukee a couple times, Oakland. Last time I went, the Brewers were there again, and I've seen them play the White Sox, which is obviously a big game, but this is Cubs Cardinals. This is right up there with Yankees and Red Sox almost. So I'm super pumped about it. Friday afternoon game, a lot on the line. I mean, Cubs are playing solidly in the playoffs. Cardinals are fighting to stay relevant and stay in the race. Cubs had a good trade deadline, so they're all in. It was funny there, Harb, at one point, there was rumors going around that the Cubs were going to try to trade for Aroldis Chapman or Sonny Gray from the Red Sox.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Cubs need pitching so badly because they've got so many injuries, and they were like, let's bring him back. We won a World Series with the man.
The Red Sox were so bad in June, and Sonny Gray was so good that we were obviously looking at trading at Sonny Gray, but we were working to find him AL teams so that he could stay eligible for the Cy Young.
Hey, hold on just a second, Harb. I want to read you the stat that just popped up on my TV about the Red Sox. I'm going to pause it here when it comes up.
I like Red Sox.
It's wild. It's wild. They did lose 2 out of 3 today, by the way.
They did. I already said that.
So their record since July 3rd, MLB statistics. Put the microphone here so you can hear me. 27-5, best record in baseball. 5.8 runs per game, best in baseball. Plus 91 run differential, best in baseball. Comeback wins, 13, best in baseball. ERA 2.70, second in baseball. That's since July 3rd. That's crazy.
It's a generational run.
It's unbelievable. Do you think they keep it going, or do they come back to the media?
I mean, they're going to level out. I mean, they're not going to keep up to the level that they've been on the last 8 weeks. But this team knows what it takes to win now. And I think they got that boost of confidence that they know they can. And truly, I think it's a matter of the bat staying hot. Like, as the pitching's been there all year long, the middle bullpen has struggled at times, especially earlier in the year. is the perfect storm of the bats getting hot and the middle relievers getting going. But yeah, I think this team has potential to do it. I think they're going to level out. I don't think they're going to catch Tampa Bay. I think they're going to be a wild card team, which after the last couple of days, I think we're probably 6.5 back, which is doable considering what we've been doing. But yeah, I think if the playoffs started tomorrow, I don't think there's a team in the league that would want to see us in a 5-game series.
I mean, with as good as the Cubs have been playing, they're still 5.5 out in the Central. That's how good Milwaukee's been this year.
Which the National League is so much better than the American League this year. It's not even funny.
You know, it's funny. The Dodgers don't have the number 1 seed anymore after the sweep.
Yeah, they lost like 8 of the last 10 or something like that.
I mean, everybody's going to do that in the season.
Stuff happens.
You just don't want it to roll over into the playoffs, obviously, but
stuff happens. I'm rooting for PCA to win MVP. I believe Yordan Alvarez has the AL MVP wrapped up in a bow. He's had an incredible year, even though the Astros struggled a little bit. I think they're right around 500. I think if you look on DraftKings, Yordan Alvarez is like minus 900 to win MVP, which is absurd at the beginning of August.
I think he's got it locked up.
Yeah, and Boston doesn't have him. But Peyton Toll, he's in contention for Rookie of the Year. I think he's 4th in the power rankings according to like MLB.com. He's been insane for us. First game against Oakland or wherever the hell they're playing now. He threw 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, and had 14 strikeouts. Like he was perfect through 4 and had 9 strikeouts. He's been incredible. It's just fun to care about baseball in August. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
Which I'm not saying I'm a stranger to it. I've seen 4 World Series in my lifetime cognitively, like actually paying attention. I've seen 3. I'm not acting like this is the first team that I've seen that's worth a shit. I don't want to sound like that. But the last 8 years or 7 years have been a little bleak for the Red Sox, at least in my lifetime. So it is cool to see a team with some fight, like actually playing like a Boston baseball team, like with some attitude, with some fight. It's cool. I mean, like everybody wrote us off, and we were one of the worst teams in baseball, and all of a sudden, you got Jeff Passan saying we're the best chance to take down the Dodgers.
The Cubs. The Cubs have been kind of like that. They made the playoffs in 2020, but you could tell it wasn't. They weren't a legit contender, but and they went through some 3 or 4 years there of nothing, but made the playoffs last year. Went to the division series and took the Brewers down to the 5th and deciding game. Couldn't pull it off, but they're poised to. I don't know if they're good enough to go to the World Series, but you just never know. Baseball is a weird game. They picked up some players at the deadline that can help them pitching wise. Could get Justin Steele back. We'll see, but you're right. It's fun now that our teams are legit contenders. And it's not that I didn't watch baseball while the Cubs were, a meddling 500 team maybe, but it's like there's something to cheer to watch for now. There's something on the line. So, and PCA is electric. If you haven't watched Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs play, go to YouTube and watch some highlights. He's right now statistically the best player in baseball. You can say Ohtani when he's pitching, yes, but he's not pitching right now. You take their numbers, put them together side by side. PCA's fielding and Ohtani's pitching wash each other out. PCA's statistically better baseball player right now than Ohtani. Ohtani and him are neck and neck for the MVP. It'll be wild to see that race as the season plays out. But Hard, before we wrap it up here, hater and loser of the week. I'm going to try to keep mine brief. But mine is the WNBA. And for those that follow sports know that the WNBA has been a complete circus as of especially the last couple years since Caitlin Clark came into the league. And they just keep tripping and fumbling and stumbling all over themselves. The WNBA is a poorly run organization, sports league. It starts from the top. The commissioner is an idiot. She's a complete fool. I don't think the players respect her. Going back to the offseason, they had a big back and forth on their collective bargaining agreement. She said some idiotic things. Of course, the players probably did too. But this whole thing with Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, I don't understand what this league's problem is. And it's not just the players that hate those two players. Watch highlights of a game and these two, how they're getting treated by the officials who are supposed to be biased officials of a game. And it's obvious they're not. Just watch a game. Like Caitlin Clark got fouled. They didn't call it. And the foul caused her to bump into an official. And the official gave her a technical foul. Now, I think they've since rescinded it. Good for the league. At least somebody's got some common sense in that league. It was her 8th technical foul of the year. She was going to have to pay a $1,500 fine and sit out a game. Sophie Cunningham got clotheslined yesterday. Dangerous play in the game of basketball. Now, Sophie Cunningham's done this before in retaliation for some violence towards Caitlin Clark on the court. But I can't pronounce this girl's name. She played at Stanford and she plays for I don't know who. Shows you how much I watch the WNBA, which is none. But this league is such a joke. And then all this stuff with these people with the trans kids T-shirts on. And now you've got Enos Cantor and what's that guy's name? Harb, help me out. Royce.
O'Neal?
I can't remember. But they've declared.
I don't know. I didn't see that one.
Two men have declared for the NBA draft, and now the WNBA is having to meet. They've got a task force they've put together to define what a woman is. It's just this league has a cash cow sitting in front of them with Caitlin Clark and now Sophie Cunningham, and they continually F it up. It's like they don't want it. Why? We talked about people flipping two birds to the NCAA. Why doesn't Caitlin Clark just leave and go to Europe and play?
Listen, man, you know me. I try to I do not talk about politics on this pod. We don't agree on everything. We don't disagree on everything. I don't know if this is the best place to talk about it, but Sophie Cunningham getting vilified for wanting to keep a women's locker room women only is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, she's getting villainized for wanting to protect a women's locker room and for girls, like not even of age, wanting to protect the sanctity of women's sports. If that bothers you, for one, you're not listening to this podcast.
No, they're not.
You're just not that. And two, what the hell are we doing? If that bothers you, like you're wanting to look at her as this right-wing fascist, so that biological women can play a biological woman's sport. We've lost our way.
And it's not. And
we've lost our way.
We have, and it's not even that bothers me. I mean, that does bother me. But the stuff on the court, how these two are getting, I mean, Caitlin Clark has gotten punished, and these referees just turn a blind eye to it. And then her own coach won't stick up for her. She was sticking up for the other girl in the press conference. And it's like I don't understand. My mind cannot understand what is going through these ladies' minds. They're either they're just sick in the head. I don't know. I don't know. I, they've got a cash cow right in front of him. Caitlin Clark doesn't get political. They asked her several times, who did she vote for? And she never would answer. And she's not, and I applaud her for that.
Which is the correct response to that,
I
in my
don't
opinion.
care who these people vote for.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't care who LeBron James votes for. I don't care. I just want to watch them play the sport that they play in. And it seems like all the WNBA is an activist league. It's all they are. And it's sad because that league has jumped up, Caitlin Clark coming in. There's more eyeballs on that sport. There's more money being brought in, even though they still lose money every year. Franchises are worth more. There's more people coming to the games. There's more people watching on TV. They're getting more money, TV money, everything they're getting more of, and they're still not happy.
It'll make like sense, but hilarious that Enos Canner or Enos Freedom is his legal name now. It is extremely funny that he is calling the WNBA's bluff with them being very trans friendly and accepting of transgender players. And they haven't even said transgender, just literally because the whole reason he's doing it is they've pretty much in writing said, if you're a woman, you can play. And they accept those rights and everything. And he put out a statement and said, yeah, I'm declaring for the WNBA draft upon the bylaws of what the league says. I can identify as a woman, and I'm entering the draft, and they're forcing their hand. So whatever they do is going to be hilarious. Whether they do the smart thing or the dumb thing, it's going to be hilarious no matter what. So I applaud him for, which it's so damn sad that we've come to this point that somebody had to do it. But it's so funny. It's a South Park episode.
It is.
The WNBA right now is a South Park episode.
So if you haven't watched that episode of South Park where there's a guy that's pretty much the Macho Man Randy Savage enters a women's athletic contest and just destroys them. It's Royce White. Harb is the former NBA player that has also declared, and he actually has bought a wig to play in, and he posted today. It came, y'all.
You don't have to have a wig to identify.
But he got one here, and it says, my first wig. Tomorrow I tested on the court. This is my feminine era glow up. Did I slay? If y'all don't yes, queen, you're transphobic. I'm dying. This is fantastic. What a bunch of idiots. All right, Harp, who's your hater and loser of the week?
Mine's not near as bad as yours. But mine, honestly, I don't even want to put them as haters and losers because it's a bit. Or at least I'm telling myself it's a bit. But it's KSR. And the reason I say that, KSR is Kentucky Sports Radio. They put out their season projections for Kentucky football game by game, and the three hosts did their own rankings, and each of them have in order 8-4, 10-2, 9-3. And the reason I say it's a bit, because I truly believe it's a bit because it's so funny. And before I call them haters and losers, I love a good joke and I love sticking to the bit. So I applaud it. I really do. But down the line, Kentucky's football schedule, they have Youngstown State. All three of them have them winning that, obviously. Week 2 is Alabama. It's a clean sweep. All three of them have them beating Alabama at home. Hell yeah. Good for y'all. That's awesome. Week 3 is at A&M. All three of them have them losing that game. Way to be humble, guys. The next week is South Alabama at home. All three of them have them winning that game. The next week is at South Carolina. All three of them have them winning that game. Winnable game. Not going to argue with you on that. The next one's LSU at home in week 6. 2 of the 3 have them losing that. Fair. The next week is at Oklahoma. Every single one of them have them losing that game. Then the next week, they have Vanderbilt coming to town. All 3 have them winning that. You have a bye week, and then you have the Wildcats coming to Knoxville. All 3 of them has wrote that off as a win.
What?
Cool, dude. Cool. The next one is Florida and Lexington. All 3 of them have them winning that game. The next game is at Missouri. One of them has that as a loss. That's the guy that has them 8-4. Shout out Rob. The other 2 have that as a win. And then week 13 rivalry week is Louisville and Lexington. All 3 of them have them winning that game. I do not think it's delusion. I think it's sticking to the bit, and I think it's awesome. So they are my hater and loser of the week, but they're really not because I respect the hell out of it.
I
It's
guess.
personal opinion.
I guess
I
that's
respect
what
the
it
hell
is.
out of it. If we were that bad at football, I would do the same exact thing. All 3 of them had them beating Bama in week 2, which is just so funny to me.
And it's crazy when
Bama has to go September 12th, which is very early, all the way up to Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky, which is probably going to be at noon. You never know.
Those noon games can be tricky. Hey, and it's crazy.
I love it.
You know,
It would be the funniest damn thing of all time if Kentucky won that game.
and you know what's going to happen when they lose those games. They're going to be so pissed off. Like, what? This program's never going to do. I mean, one of them last year said they're never going to beat Tennessee. They're never going to beat these programs like this. Of course, now they've got a new coach, so their fire has been reignited. But yeah, and one of them,
Which good hire, very good hire.
yeah, it's a good hire. And one of them came out the other day though, and basically said Tennessee fans were the most delusional fans in all of college football. They've surpassed, like, even Nebraska now understands that they are what they are, but like Tennessee fans think they're a blue blood. I don't know many, if any, Tennessee fans that think we're a blue blood. I think we're a top 10 to top 15 all-time program.
We're in that second tier,
yeah,
in my opinion. Yeah.
You're and very, like, have a good 5-year run and you might be on that first tier maybe. But, top 10 in all-time wins, bowl appearances, multiple national titles, third in the SEC and in conference titles. The only thing Tennessee football doesn't have is a Heisman Trophy winner, which is crazy to me. With all the talented football players we've had, we've never had a Heisman Trophy winner. But Tennessee has done everything else in the sport of college football. You might say Tennessee's an 8 or a 9 win program annually, maybe 10. But I guess the 90s kind of skewed the mid 90s to late 90s kind of skewed our vision in the early 2000s of Tennessee football. But yeah, that one of their KSR guys, I can't remember what it is, said Tennessee fans were delusional. They think they're a blue blood. They're really not. They're worse than Kentucky basketball fans. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know that I agree with that. There are some morons in every fan base. I think it was in response to some graphic that I don't remember if it was SEC Mike or some SEC Twitter account, X account, put out that these SEC programs were blue blood, and they included Alabama, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia. I think that was it. That those 5 were in there. I don't think Auburn was on that list. Maybe they were, or LSU was not on there either. And somebody responded like the only blue blood on that list is Alabama and Oklahoma. I have a hard time counting Oklahoma as an SEC blue blood. They've only been in the conference for 2 or 3 years, but I guess they're in the conference, so whatever. But I think it was in response to that, saying like, how is Tennessee a blue blood? They haven't won a conference title since 1998 or a national title. But there's a valid point. But anyways, I digress. I don't want to talk about Kentucky anymore, Harb. We'll talk about them later this year. Harb, that's all I got for this week. We're going to take next week off. I know we just came back, but we're going to take next week off because I'll be, like I mentioned earlier, I'll be in Chicago. We're visiting my family up there for the weekend. So our plan is to come back the following week. We're going to start recording regularly from here on out every Sunday night and have it posted for you guys on Monday. Got some exciting news about a sponsor that's coming on board, Harb. So that's going to be exciting, and hopefully we'll have some promotional gear for football season to pass out. We mentioned earlier we're 27 days away from football kicking off, and got a new tailgating spot, unfortunately, for this year. We did not get in G10 because of the new parking situation with the G10 being torn down. So we'll have news on that. The internal tailgating, JWTDG tailgating group knows where we're parking, but we'll announce that to the world here in the next couple weeks about where we'll be. Somebody asked me, like, are you even going to the games this year? Because our tailgate spot got moved. I was like, yeah, I'll be there. I won't be right next to the stadium, I can tell you that. So we'll have to leave a few minutes earlier than we're normally used to leaving. But
it'll be similar to our old spot.
Yeah. And the good thing is it's a straight walk and a flat walk. No hills involved that I'm aware
of. Before we get out of here, shout out to friend of the show and part-time producer, Big Ticket Jack Nonnet. He's playing in a mini tour event, G Pro event this week in Martinsville, Virginia. He'll probably be on his drive there while he's listening to this. So I'm not going with him this week. I'm not carrying the bag, so good luck, brother. Get some reps in, make the cut, go low. I think that's the only shout out I have. We're in that weird point of August where I forget what day it is.
of.
I think that's the only shout out I have.
I got a shout out real quick while you're thinking. Austin Hayes. Do you see he got signed by the Padres? Oh wait, that's not our Austin Hayes. My bad.
So what's funny is when I went on that road trip and we hit 5 MLB parks in 5 days, Austin Hayes was the first baseman for the Orioles, and that was our first stop was Camden Yards. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So
they do spell their last name.
Shout out to Austin Hayes. I hope you enjoy San Diego. I have kept track of your MLB career out of spite.
Beautiful ballpark that he'll be playing in. And by the way, it's not a hater and loser, but Big Montana texted us in our group a couple weeks ago. The Padres got to get rid of these brown and yellow uniforms. Absolutely not. I love those uniforms.
No, I like them a lot too.
They're not the best uniforms, but they're good. I've been watching these retro, like powder blue, like the Royals got. Those are nice. The powder blue that the Blue Jays wear, nice. Phillies. I'm wearing the Cubs away jersey. There's nothing to it, but Braves got a nice alternate jersey now. Those powder blue with the Del Murphy A on it. There's some good looking jerseys out there right now. uniforms in the MLB. They're doing a great job.
I got a hot opinion. Not every team should have a powder blue jersey.
I agree.
Because I saw a couple of weeks ago that Arkansas women's soccer had a powder blue jersey. No.
No.
Wrong. No.
No, shouldn't
Don't do
happen.
it.
Not everybody should do that.
If the Red Sox ever wore a powder blue uniform, I'd say the same thing. It's not one
I
of their
like their
colors.
green that they wear.
The monster green, the Fenway Fridays, I believe that those are money.
That's
Because, those are a perfect alternate uniform in my opinion.
The Cubs have an alternate that they wear every Friday at home on a day game, and it's a powder blue with a Cubs and unique Cubs logo with a bear in it playing a guitar because of the blues in Chicago, rock and roll, whatever. But just something different. I like it way better than the Wrigleyville uniforms they wore for a few years. Those were awful. But Harb, I've talked enough. I think you've talked enough. It's about time for bed for us. We're JWTDG here after dark. We're recording this. So, hey, if you are watching this video, be sure to check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you're listening to us, you can also check us out on the YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, all that good stuff. You can follow us on social media at JWTDG Podcast. We got some new graphics on the screen if you're watching that you'll see I've been working on. So hopefully those translate to the screen pretty well. But give us a like, comment on the podcast somewhere, tweet at us. Let us know that you listened to us this week. But we'll be back in a couple weeks. I'm sure something at UT will happen between now and then. It'll give us something to talk about. Never a dull moment in this town. But Harb, good to see you again. Shout out Jake Minott. Good luck this week up in Virginia. Stripe them, hit some fairways and greens for us. And we'll be following along, Jake. So hopefully you do well. But for Harb, I'm Nice. You've been listening to the JWTDG podcast.